Hello everyone, today is 25th of December and of course I will start this update congratulating all the members of our community and everybody in this world who celebrates Christmas today with this great holiday. I wish you a wonderful happy day and happy upcoming new year, of course. And even though I would love to share all the positive news, dear friends, in this update, Unfortunately, some major developments in this world are quite depressing, and sorry about that, but nothing I can do about it. I'm gonna start this update with some emergency situations that occur in different parts of the world, and for example, this report that Russia-bound airliner crashed in ex-Soviet state. Passenger plane carrying 67 people, including 62 passengers and 5 crew members, has crashed near city of Aktau on Kazakhstan's Caspian Sea coast. Local officials reported on Tuesday, and on your screen you can see moment when this plane crashed. The Azerbaijan Airlines Embraer E190AR was on a route from Baku, Azerbaijan to Grozny, Russia, when the incident occurred. While the number of casualties remains unclear still, local media reports that there are survivors, and this is correct. I already posted on my Telegram channel information that according to latest data, 28 people survived this crash. Hopefully more survivors will be found on the place of crash of these planes, but what is known for now is that 28 people survived this airliner crash. Unfortunately, majority of their passengers did not make it through. A tragic accident. Of course, our investigation is underway. When it comes to emergency situations, this morning media here in Russia also reported about blast that devastated a shopping mall in Russian southern city, Vladikavkaz, which is the capital of North Ossetia-Alania Autonomous Republic. Of course, many members of our community are familiar with this republic because about 2 years ago, now I spent the entire summer there, isn't it? And I was making updates from Vladikavkaz, from other places in North Ossetia, Alania, and including from this shopping mall that was devastated with blast this morning. So a major fire occurred at the shopping mall in the southern Russian city of Vladikavkaz on Wednesday morning after a powerful explosion went off inside. According to officials and the media reports, the incident took place at the Alania Mall. I have made updates from this mall also at the time. A major shopping and entertainment center in the capital of Republic of North Ossetia Alania in the northern Caucasus. The emergency services said one person was killed and 2 others were injured, citing preliminary reports from the scene. The fire affected around 800 square meters and was put out in about an hour, according to official updates. And this is a huge mall, by the way. Veterans of our community may remember my videos from this area. It is a huge shopping mall and entertainment center, 28,000 square meters, so it is quite large, and it was early hours, and of course we contacted our relatives in Ossetia, Alania, to make sure that they are safe, and we asked about this situation. Of course, different rumors start circulate straight away. Some people were suggesting that maybe this was a terrorist attack of Kiev regime. It is a possibility, of course. Our investigation is underway, and we will find out soon about exact causes of this tragedy. But from what I learned this morning is that some renovation work was done on the top floor of this shopping mall, and the gas exploded. But yet again, I'm not an investigator, so it is better, of course, to wait for investigation to end there, and they will share with us detailed information. But from what I learned, this was not a terrorist attack. This was tragic accident, as a result of which, unfortunately, one person was killed and there are a few others wounded. And when it comes to emergency situations, unfortunately, there is reports about another one from yesterday, when a Russian cargo ship sank in a Mediterranean. So the Russian cargo vessel Ursa Major has a sinker in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Spain. The Russian Foreign Ministry's Crisis Center confirmed on Tuesday. According to statement on its official Telegram account, the ship capsized following explosion in its engine room. I reported about this development in yesterday's second update on my Patreon and Boosty pages, and the latest information is that 14 crew members from 16 were evacuated with active support of vessels from Spain, and unfortunately 2 crew members are missing. Of course, rumors start circulating that maybe this was a Kyiv regime's terrorist attack, or terrorist attack of backers of the Kyiv regime, NATO member states. Hard to tell. It is better, of course, to wait for investigation, and I guess we will find out relatively soon about real causes of this ship being sunk. Meanwhile, when it comes to terrorist activity of Kyiv regime, we have this report that according to active governor of the Kursk region, Alexander Hinstein, Kyiv regime's terrorist groups conducted a large-scale shelling of the city of Lvov in the Kursk region. There is significant damage done to this city, residential areas, by the way, and information is being checked now about casualty numbers, and of course when updates will be available on this yet another terrorist attack of Kyiv regime, I will share additional information on my Telegram and Telegram channel, Twitter X page, and in the next updates. TASS news agency is reporting that Russian armed forces established fire control over their main roads between Gulyaipole and Velikaya Novoselka. This is a definitely major development when it comes to Frontline. Russian armed forces conducting offensive operations in Velikaya Novoselka area for at least several weeks now, and almost on daily basis, settlements around this city have been liberated from Kyiv regime's militants. And now this report that this is Velikaya Novoselka, and a road between Velikaya Novoselka and Gulyaipole has become under full Russian control. Let me find Gulyaipole, by the way, on this map. It must be, that's it, man. So this is Gulyaipole settlement, and this is Velikaya Novoselka, and the road between the two is under fire control of the Russian armed forces. Now, I would not be surprised at all if Russian troops will launch a local scale offensive operation in Gulyaipole direction also, or in between Velikaya Novoselka and Gulyaipole. Progress of the Russian armed forces continues, obviously, on daily basis, and the initiative is in Russian hands, despite all the attempts of Kyiv regime's formations to regain initiative on any of the directions. So they are failing time after time after time, and they have no chances, really. The best they can do is to lay down arms and surrender. That will be the best decision they can ever make. There is no need for, especially for forcefully mobilized personnel of Kyiv regime's forces, to die for criminal regime, terrorist regime of Zelensky, or the Western geopolitical agenda, or geopolitical agenda of the Western ruling class, isn't it? There is no reason to die for them. And hopefully more and more people in key regimes, so-called armed forces, will realize that. That's being said, let's continue now with some more news. And this is an interesting one. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting about a number of Russian citizens that join armed forces, sign up a contract to join Russian armed forces in 2024. And this number is about 440,000 people. Quite impressive, isn't it? It's quite impressive. So in 2024 alone, more than 400,000 citizens joined armed forces, which is huge. I mean, huge, really, right? That's why we see no mobilization in Russia, isn't it? Until now, situation may change if for conducting some large-scale military operations, additional troops will be needed. We might witness mobilization. Although with current rate of volunteers that are joining army, I find it quite difficult to believe that in 2025, for example, there will be large-scale mobilization. It might happen, but I don't know. Chances are quite low because just look at it, man. Hundreds of thousands of people are joining army voluntarily, so there is no need for mobilization, it seems to me. RIA Novosti, meanwhile, is reporting that foreign policy, big name in Western propaganda, and quite influential one, as far as I understand, especially in US, reported that European states still are working on ideas to deploy European troops or NATO troops, basically, because EU itself don't really have any troops, but NATO does, and NATO member states, of course. And according to foreign policy, there is still discussion in Europe when and how to deploy troops into Ukraine. Although at this point, European states are position of European states is that troops can be deployed only when situation on front lines will be stabilized, whatever they mean by this stabilization. If they think that Russia will agree freezing this conflict, they are mistaken. They are mistaken. In my personal opinion, all these talks about deployment of NATO troops into Ukraine is about preparation for occupation of the Western Ukraine, because there is no way Russia will tolerate presence of NATO troops outside of Western Ukraine, right? So if European states don't want to end up in a direct war, full-scale war with Russia, then probably they would not dare to deploy their troops under whatever pretext anywhere outside of Western Ukraine. Western Ukraine is a whole different story, and I don't think you will find in Russia that many people who really cares about what will happen to western parts of this former Soviet Republic. After all, those territories were taken from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Romania by Soviet government at the time after Second World War, and given to this creation of the Bolsheviks, Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. I remind you, there was no Ukraine ever on the political map in human history, right? This is a purely Bolshevist creation, by the way, Ukraine. It never existed before, right? And the territory was called, as I said many times before, Saturn territories that was at one point controlled by a Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was called by Poles Akraina. Poles are Slavic people, of course, and Polish language is a language of Slavic language family. And there are many similarities in Russian language between Russian and Polish languages. And Poles were calling certain areas Akraina because that was the outskirts of this Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, right? Outskirts. And from Poles, this meaning came to Russian language, and then Russians were also calling certain areas outskirts because it was outskirts for Russia also, right? And you know, after UK and Germany, some few hundred years ago, leadership of UK and Germany realized that they have opportunity there to create additional problems for Russia. They start pushing the narrative that these people that are living on these outskirts are actually not Russian, not Poles, not Hungarians, but are Agranians, Ukrainians. That changed then into Ukraine, right? Ukrainians. And unfortunately, Bolsheviks, majority of whom, in my personal opinion, were working for German and British secret services, those Bolsheviks after revolution created this artificial republic, Ukraine, Soviet Ukraine, and so many problems for the future generations. This was a fatal mistake of Bolsheviks, by the way, but that's history now. Anyways, let's continue with some more news. RT is reporting here that Ukraine has received their first billion backed by seized Russian assets, according to local so-called prime minister. So the first $1 billion US dollars, the 1 billion installment of their 20 billion US loan backed by impounded Russian assets has been paid to Kiev. Ukrainian so-called prime minister Denis Shmyhal announced on Tuesday. Russia has vowed to respond to the theft, because it is a theft, by the way. They are stealing Russian assets, right? Profits from Russian assets or assets themselves. This is a theft. This is stealing, right? It comes 2 weeks after the US Treasury Department paid the 20 billion into a World Bank fund for transfer to Ukraine. The EU has pledged to contribute an additional 20 billion US dollars to the fund, while G7 members Britain, Japan, and Canada will add another 10 billion for a total of 50 billion US dollars that will theoretically be repaid over 40 years. The loan was funded by interests earned from immobilized Russian sovereign assets. An estimated 300 billion worth belonging to Russian Central Bank was frozen by the US and its allies following the escalation of the Ukrainian conflict in February 2022. So yes, first billion being transferred to Kiev regime, at least formally, a billion that is actually Russian assets, and they are stealing it, right? And then some people among our elites in the West are surprised that there is outflow of investments from their Western economies. Really? Should you be that surprised? You are stealing sovereign assets of the other countries. So why would anyone in a straight mind will think that investments into Western economies are a good idea? Those investments can be frozen and stolen at any time. At any time, right? With no guarantees. And everybody understands that. RT is reporting, meanwhile, that, according to Russian militaries, Africa is a new focus of the US Biolab activities. So Africa has become a focal point of interest for the US government, which views the region as an unlimited natural reservoir of dangerous pathogens and the testing ground for experimental medical treatment. The Russian military has reported the Russian Ministry of Defense continues to scrutinize the military biological activities of the US in Ukraine and other regions worldwide. Previously, attention was drawn to a transfer of inefficient Ukrainian projects to post-Soviet states and Southeast Asia. According to Major General Alexei Tishev, the deputy chief of the Radiation, Chemical and Biological Defense Troops, Washington's system for the managing biological risks in other countries was tested in Ukraine and Georgia and is now actively employed in Africa. In a briefing on Tuesday, Tishev said the US views Africa as a limitless natural reservoir for dangerous infectious agents and a testing ground for experimental medical products. The activities of these systems are directed towards acquiring pathogens in endemic areas and natural focal points, he explained, as well as monitoring and managing their biological situation to serve US interests. According to the report, one of the primary objectives of this initiative is to analyze the epidemic situation along the borders of geopolitical adversaries, particularly in regions where military contingents could be deployed. Basically, US militaries are working on bioweapons, right? We all understand that. They are working on bioweapons, even though it's prohibited. US militaries have no care about it, leadership of US militaries at least, and some so-called scientists that are working for these criminals. And of course, US military are led by criminals and mass murderers, no questions about that, right? And genocidal criminals, by the way. Due to activity of US militaries, in last several decades alone, millions of people have been killed, and tens of millions of people were forced to flee their homelands, right? And hardly anybody can, dispute this objective truth, fact, right? And African nations should be very careful who they are choosing to cooperate with, because if they allow US biolabs on their territory, well, too bad. Too bad, first of all, for them, because, you never know. You never know what plans these mass murderers have, right? That are in charge of US, politically, militarily, and so on. So, yes, African nations should be very, very careful. And before I continue, dear friends, let me notice that this project is completely subscriber funded. And if you like my work, if you think I deserve to be in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support through donation or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links to my PayPal, Boosty, Patreon, and crypto wallet and this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And many thanks to everybody who supported and continues to support this project and my work. Without you, these channels, by the way, that I'm operating with wouldn't exist for a long time now, right? So thank you very much. Let's continue, dear friends, and we have TASS News Agency's report that Yemeni Houthi rebels or Ansar Allah movement stated that they launched a missile attack on military targets in Tel Aviv area in Israel once again. No precise information about effectiveness of this missile strike. Most likely, Israeli air defense systems intercepted these missiles. Although for now, I didn't see in Russian media any reports about interceptions of these missiles that were launched by Houthi rebels. In previous days, Houthi rebels also launched missiles towards Tel Aviv area, exactly. And there was reports that were contradicting each other. According to some, Israeli air defense systems shut down all their incoming missiles. According to other reports, some Houthi missiles managed to actually hit the target. RT, meanwhile, is reporting that American Airlines lift grounding of flights. Every American Airlines flight in the US was grounded due to technical issue. The company said in a statement on Tuesday, the mass cancellation, which lasted several hours, has since been lifted, basically. I guess thousands, hundreds of thousands of people probably were affected by this, especially now when holidays. are taking place. In a notice on its website, the Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) said that American Airlines, their country's largest carrier, had requested a ground stop for all of its flights on Tuesday morning. The company confirmed shortly afterwards that it was experiencing a technical issue with the All American Airlines flights. Well, the situation is resolved for now, as far as I understand. Although because all the planes were grounded, I guess people still are waiting to reach their destinations until now, right? So I mean, American Airlines ruined holidays for many people, man. That's quite unfortunate. RT is also reporting that Russia and Pakistan to launch a first direct railway line, which is interesting, which is definitely interesting. Russia and Pakistan will launch their first direct freight train between the two countries next year as they seek to boost mutual trade. Pakistani Energy Minister Awais Leghari told the TASS news agency on Tuesday. Moscow and Islamabad are set to launch trial runs on the rail link to transport goods from Russia to Pakistan in March 2025, the minister said. By the end of March, we are planning, and this is quote by the way, by the end of March, we are planning their first train, the first cargo train to leave Russia for Pakistan. Leghari told the outlet, we have kept this as a goal for us to actually implement. The rail link will bypass Afghanistan along the eastern branch of the international north-south transport corridor through the territory of Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Iran. The IN STC is a 7,200-kilometer multi-mode transit system that connects ships, rail, and road routes for moving cargo between India, Iran, Azerbaijan, Russia, Central Asia, and Europe. So, well, good developments here, good developments. Of course, further improvement of relationships between Russia and Pakistan is important developments and a good development for India, first of all, I believe, because if Russia will have any influence in Pakistan, of course, Russia will use this influencer to make sure that relationships between Pakistan and India are getting better, right? Unfortunately, as we all know, historically speaking, relationships between New Delhi and Islamabad was not really good ever, really. But hopefully, with the active participation, positive participation of BRICS member states, relationships between the two will improve big time, because they are one people, for God's sake, man. Why should they ever fight each other? Why should they be hostile to each other? I mean, Pakistanis and Indians, I mean, they are literally one people, right? Difference is just a religion, right? Main difference. And that's why British Empire divided India in these weird ways when, you know, predominantly Muslim countries were, you know, separated from mainland India and called them Pakistan, which also was divided after, and Bangladesh, of course, received independence from the Pakistan with the support of India, by the way. Many people in Bangladesh may are forgetting about it, but it is India that helped Bangladeshis to defend themselves, right, at the time. But anyways, it is good to see that Moscow and Islamabad are working on certain projects, and as I said, if relationships will further improve, I'm 100% convinced Russia will use its potential influence in Islamabad to make sure that, you know, relationships between India, which is a strategic partner for Russia, I will say most important strategic partner for Russia, relationships between India and Pakistan will improve also. Anyways, let's continue. RT is reporting that the US sanctioned the state to become a BRICS partner. So Uganda will officially become a BRICS partner state on January 1st. Yuri Ushakov, an aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin, told the reporter on Monday. He said that the East African nation is one of 9 countries that have confirmed their readiness to receive their status. In November last year, US President Joe Biden expelled Uganda along with the Central African Republic, Gabon, and Niger from Washington's flagship African Growth and Opportunity Act trade program, citing gross violations of participation requirements. Landlocked country has been exporting goods, including coffee and textile, to the US for many years under the initiative, which came into force in 2000. It grants qualified sub-Saharan African countries duty-free access to American market. The BRICS partner country category was established at the group's summit in October, hosted by Russia in Kazan, and is intended to serve as an alternative to a membership after over 30 countries apply to join the group. Holders of this status can permanently take part in special seasons of BRICS summits, ministerial meetings, and other high-level events. But what is most important, being a BRICS partner means you will gain easier access to markets of the BRICS, right? And we are talking about biggest market in this world right now. That's how big BRICS is, right? So of course, being a partner of the BRICS is a good stuff, definitely good stuff. And dear friends, I will end this update on this interesting also news that Christmas storm likely after major solar flare. So people in the northern hemisphere will be treated to dazzling displays of the Aurora or northern lights, Aurora Borealis or northern lights on Wednesday, as a coronal mass ejection from the sun brushes up against our planet, according to Russian scientists. After 2 weeks of relative inactivity, the sun experienced a Class M flare on Monday with a magnitude of 8.9, just shy of making it a Class X. The flare happened in a sunspot group 3932, which astronomers have been monitoring because it is due to intersect the Sun-Earth line over the next 5 to 7 days. Part of the coronal mass ejection could clip our planet in the afternoon of December 25th. Mikhail Leos of the Phobos Weather Center in Moscow said Tuesday on his Telegram channel. Forecasts show it might result in a G1 or G2 magnetic storm also. So in northern hemisphere, by the way, today people might see this Aurora Borealis or northern lights, right? And usually it's a mesmerizing scenery, isn't it? When sky is glowing and in different colors. It is something spectacular, of course. So yes, look out at the skies, by the way, if you are living in the northern hemisphere, and if there is no clouds. Right now here, by the way, in Moscow, it's a cloudy day, so therefore I don't think we will see any northern lights, but I will end this update on this news, and hopefully you will find this relatively short video informative, interesting, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary. This is the only way, dear friends, we can at least try to influence algorithm. And if you can, please share information about my channel or share my videos with your friends that have interest in the news. That will also help, of course. And finally, if you like my work, or if you think I deserve to be in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support. All the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Once again, Happy Christmas, everybody. Have a wonderful, great day. Take care and see you tomorrow.